for the benefit of the billionaires and the capitalist class.
Okay, I have it.
Thank you, Dean. Next.
Someone in the back.
No, you are.
The guy? I wasn't gonna raise this stuff because it's until you guys said Tulsi is in favor of Assange and Chelsea Mann. But here's the thing, I think I am gonna be on the Bernie committee, and this is why. No, I don't agree with a lot of this, some of this stuff, and Tulsi's some of the stuff. They are the best, but the reason I'm for him, he's got over 1,000 groups all over America already, full of people. That's where you go, where you fight him on the issues. Talk to, what do you mean you're for Russiagate? Fight him on the issues, and then try to spread it to the other groups.
And Venezuela.
Yeah, whenever he does a bad thing, but look at all those groups. Who else has the groups? Nobody. And most of the stuff in the groups is what people want. And so, you know, people that are going against him, they're going against the majority.
You should say Bernie, actually.
Bernie, I mean, yeah, for Bernie. And I wish they'd be together just like he said. I mean, who knows, he might choose her, I doubt it. You know, there's too much, you know, stuff that goes on. But I would say, you know, when it comes to that, don't be so against him for the stuff, because he's got all those groups. And the groups are good. I went to only one meeting so far, but the people are a lot better than him. They come to those meetings. Most of them have Tulsi buttons on too. And when you go to a Tulsi meeting, they have Bernie buttons. So people, you know, and just think of it this way. Are we going to just always sit home and, oh, okay, I'll see if a couple of my friends will go. That's nothing. That's nothing. You've got to do more with your life than that. And that's the way I feel. That's why I feel like I got to be part of that. That's really important.
Well, tell him you said so.
May I? Okay, thank you. Very good presentation today. Great discussion. I just want to further the idea that we really don't, on the left, don't have a party that has mass following. That's our weakness together. And so therefore, this strategy comes out of weakness. We can't afford to be puritanical. I agree with Gigi here and Jean. And so about Tulsi, I agree that Tulsi is from the capitalist politician. They all are. I mean, this is bourgeois system. What else will you get?
She's a military officer.
Yeah, the military. But you see, military officer sometimes can turn their gun and they're more effective.
Oh yeah.
So
she's a military policeman.
Tulsi has Tulsi has spoken openly against military-industrial complex and supported these people. So what I think is useful for the left is to support their positions against the system, but not, in the end, we know that they're not going to solve the problem. We know that. But this contradiction, both Bernie bringing up the failures of capitalism and Tulsi bringing up military-industrial complex, it adds to the struggle, in my opinion, objectively speaking. That's all I wanted to say, and you can react to it.
Well, I'm not going to support a politician that assigned for the 51-day siege of Gaza. So, you know, you have to ask the Palestinians why Bernie Sanders did that, and, you know, how he voted for the blowing up of Yugoslavia, and how he is supporting F-35 that are fighter bombers that are going to blow up the third world. And, you know, even if he gets elected president, he will be running with the CIA, the NSA, the Department of Defense, and the military-industrial complex. So, you know, that strategy that you mentioned, I, as a colonial subject, you know, that affects me personally and my family and people around the world, I'm not going to support. And if you support that, you're supporting, you know, you were supporting already a war criminal like him and future crimes. You know, I'm answering the question, excuse me. So,
we've got 20 minutes.
And, you know, in the case of Venezuela, he is siding with the opposition supported by the Central Intelligence Agency, the U.S. government, the Trump administration. So, you know, Venezuela is in danger of being attacked by the imperialists. So he is helping the ruling class in this destabilization that supposedly you oppose, and supposedly you support the government of Venezuela. So if you support a politician that is fomenting unrest and the stabilization of a democratically elected government, you are accomplice of crimes against the people of Venezuela. So, I'm not part of that. And, there's one more thing. These all politicians, in the case, you mentioned the case of the Ukraine, and, the Democratic Party installed in my country the Fiscal Control Board that is suffocating the people of Puerto Rico, with bipartisan support. The Promesa Act was introduced by Congress by the Obama administration, and we are facing the consequences. Actually, for your knowledge, Natalie Jaresko, which is the executive board of the Fiscal Control Board, she is an American citizen that had been a State Department official, an Agency of International Development official, and she was part of the International Monetary Fund mission in the Ukraine to privatize property in the Ukraine, and eventually was named Minister of Finance of the Ukraine because she has dual citizenship. And that's a person that is running the Fiscal Control Board right now in Puerto Rico to privatize things. We support the Democratic Party and all these politicians. So, excuse me, I don't agree.
I like to recognize myself.
There's a hand up over here.
Yeah, I like to recognize myself.
There's a man over there raising.
So, Bernie Sanders.
Over there.
Yeah, I'm recognizing myself.
Don't recognize her. She's had her
No,
hand
well,
up for
shut up,
5 minutes.
Norma. It's called Norma harassment. That's her name.
It's not normal enough. It's not normal enough.
So anyway, Bernie Sanders, 6 months into the 2016 campaign, said that Saudi Arabia needs to put some skin in the game and go into Syria.
I know, but he's against them now.
That's what he said. The other thing he says, and you can see you can see 10 million hits. She's right, 10 million hits on Joe Rogan, and Tulsi's got 2 million hits. But Bernie Sanders in 2016 said, "We can do it. We can get health care because of the history of the labor movement. We did it before. Of the history of the civil rights movement, we did it before. Of the women's movement, we did it before. Of the gay movement, we did it before." He never says
The war.
the anti-war movement,
Anti-war movement.
and he just repeated that same bullshit. So I don't support him. I didn't support him in 2016. The gentleman over here with the hat. Thank you, sir.
He hasn't spoken.
We don't count.
Yeah, he hasn't spoken.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, I want to congratulate the comrades here for the exposition. I'm sorry I came late, but I got some words from some sentences from Ricardo, my comrade, and in arms from Puerto Rico. And I want to tell you that all of the two parties, no matter how much benevolent face they can show to winning votes of the elections, they're being chosen by the elite. Nobody talks about who's behind these people. Rockefeller, the International Monetary Fund, all these other elites are behind choosing these leaders for people to vote. And the necessity that all the left groups here in the United States need to unite. There's some things that are very, very different, but also very useful. There's tactical alliances and there's strategic alliances. So you can have a strategic alliance between organizations and tactical alliances for different types of struggles. I think that without undermining the principles of class struggle and of solidarity with the working class, of solidarity with the third world and the oppressed class here in the United States, we should unite instead of dispersing. I think that we should concentrate our efforts instead of diluting them. And the way I sound like a chemist, and the way because I just work as a chemist for many years, and I think that the concentrated solution works better than a diluted one. Okay, that's my.
Cecile.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Cecile had her hand up.
Okay. Anybody want to speak before Cecile that hasn't spoken? Okay.
Mother,
You
may
don't
I?
like, you don't like my.
Mother, may I? Okay, so basically what you're saying is that we're fucked, and we all agree that we are fucked, okay? And it's very clear. So, that's the baseline, all right?
No.
So, it seems to me that we have to recognize what crumbs we might be able to salvage out of this. Now, I'm sure that you're going to vote for Joe Biden. I can just see it in your
Me?
face.
I'm not gonna vote for Joe
I'm
Biden.
sure you're going to vote for
You
Joe
are
Biden.
crazy.
No
You
way.
don't even know me, so
All right,
I'm not gonna vote for Joe Biden.
She's teasing. You don't have a sense of humor. I'm
I
teasing with you.
don't. I go for
All right,
the
all
person, the word
right.
that
So
you.
basically, that's what is going to happen. We are going to be offered dead meat again. So basically,
Biden's
gonna
dead
have
already.
to see
It's already gone.
what
dead.
little piece of this dead meat we can cut away that we might be able to swallow. We are fucked. We don't have a prayer, and that's the baseline.
We
So
have a lot of
I
prayers.
mean, all of this discussion about, well, Bernie did this, and Chelsea did that, and Biden, your favorite, did this. No,
favorite.
these are irrelevant discussions. Basically,
Not irrelevant.
the only discussion is we're fucked. So
That's
where
the
do
only thing
we
we
go
can say.
from there?
Speak for
That's the
yourself.
baseline.
Look, I think,
Stephen would like to answer the question.
okay, I think we have great opportunities now. Let's face it, we have never in our lifetime had this kind of division in the capitalist class.
Yeah.
This war, this internal war, this fratricide and internecine warfare in the capitalist class offers us
Yes.
Yeah.
the opportunity
Yeah.
to talk about what is going on.
Yeah.
When Tulsi Gabbard calls Trump out for using the troops as prostitutes and him being the pimp, that's a great, we can say yes.
Yes, yes.
That's true. We agree with Trump on that issue, but it's just not now. It's the history of U.S. imperialism. So let's use these contradictions internally in the capitalist class to get our message out about the nature of imperialism, about capitalism. I mean, I think if whoever, Sanders, whoever, if they say something correct, you say yes. And then say what the analysis is. We haven't had this opportunity in my lifetime.
Absolutely right.
When capitalist politicians are calling these others out. That's why my position is we need congressional hearings on the Democrats and the Republicans. You know, that's a good thing. And of course, the solution is only going to be when the working class, the auto workers, the actual working class starts to mobilize not only against the capitalists, but against their trade union bureaucracy, which is supporting the Democrats, which has given money to the Democrats and helps the Democrats in these crimes, these imperialist crimes. So I think, contrary to the feeling that we're lost and we're without hope, I think that actually we're in the best situation we've been in. Actually, the capitalist class is very weak in this country.
Right.
You know, one of the splits now is that the Democrats are supporting the GM workers. You know, isn't that interesting? I mean, it's opportunism, but that's creating a division. You know, when the Democrats joined the picket line, and we had a little action yesterday in San Leandro at a GM dealership supporting them. The people who were going by were, honking right on. You know, one of the things we're talking about is having a picket at Tesla, to support the GM workers and against the attack on the workers at Tesla who want a union. That doesn't mean we support the union bureaucracy, but workers want unions in this country. They want to fight back. And we have to provide a perspective, a strategy, a united front to unite working people for their rights. And the fact of the matter is we haven't had general strikes since the 1930s and 40s, but they're coming in this country. And actually, we need to we support and say we need general strikes. You're not going to stop what's happening in capitalism, the attacks on workers by the Democrats, by an election. This is a system problem. We have to say that to people. We need a working class solution, and a working class solution, in my view, is not an election. the election are not going to solve this crisis of capitalism, which is a system problem. And that opportunity to say that, workers are disillusioned about politicians. That's why the majority don't even vote. Most people don't take the election seriously. And that is because they vote for Obama. What do they get? They get more bullshit. You know, they get Libya, and they get deregulation. They get charter schools, privatization. So they know that. I mean, workers are not stupid. They see what's going on. So the task of building a working class party is building a united front movement to support the working class, to unite with the working class against the attacks that they face. If we do that, then we'll mobilize and educate. And, you know, it is unfortunate there are not more young people at this meeting, but young people are getting involved. I mean, these kids, I mean, it's great to see the Fox attack these children for being brainwashed. I mean, these children have more understanding about the climate, about the future that they face than the capitalist class. Both Democrats and Republicans. It is an emergency. The world is melting. What future do people have, young people have, our children and grandchildren? They see the writing on the wall, and we have to work with them. We have to fight with them against the system. These young children say, yes, the world is facing destruction, and capitalism is encouraging that. It's a capitalist system which is drilling for oil. It's capitalists, including Jerry Brown, who want to have fracking in this state. These are capitalists, Newsom and Newsom. So let's use this anger and frustration, the liberal capitalists, let's use this anger and frustration to politically educate people about what was going on. And in that sense, we have a great opportunity.
Can I say something more?
Okay, thank you. That's really positive.
Can I add something to this idea about the struggle?
Mine won't even be a minute, really quick, please.
Me too. Oh, come on. I really will. I'll just stand up and say it. If you don't know, you know Mehmet, who sometimes participates with these events, has cited that Venezuela rose from the bottom and the top organizing. So we need us, of course we need us to, among other things, elect people to office that are on our side. And from the top, where those people have the chance to take advantage of their growing support. So it's a two-way street. Get the people on the bottom to participate as much as possible, and they get killed off in the process, but we have to keep replacing them. The other thing, I object to people putting us into a group called the working class. We're the human beings. We're not the workers. We're the people. And among the things we do, of course, is provide the wealth and profit to our owners. In the meantime, we want to come out of that relationship. We want to be human beings and enjoy life and comfort each other unto our children's children.
Yes, that's the.
Okay, what I wanted to say is this.
Thank you.
I know a lot of people heard Bernie say some shit a few months back, and that's it, and they don't ever listen anymore. Okay. I heard him the other night, and he said, I cannot do these things when I'm president. It takes a large working class movement to make this work. He said that. People don't even know that. Oh, he doesn't believe, okay. He also said the things we have to stop. One of them was the military-industrial complex. He said that. So we can have, it's good that we're having little groups and we're going on. I mean, I love it. I go on stuff as much as I can. But if we get involved in these thousands of committees, no one else has that. We can get in there and fight for the things we want. We can say, we don't like what you said about Venezuela. We don't like what you said about this. We don't like what you're doing with Puerto Rico. You know, be with the people. We can fight in these groups. But if you're fighting just alone and try to bring the left together, maybe we could do it through those groups. But bring the left together, they hate each other. They hate each other. There's a guy, he hasn't spoke yet.
I won't need a microphone like her. I don't want to know anything.
Welcome.
This is my first time here. My name is Maurice, and I'm really excited about being here. I can't wait to come again and hear these discussions. In my dealings around. I don't always get a part of these discussions, and I think it's wholly needed and stuff. I'm gonna bring more friends and stuff, get more people involved. But that all being said, I think we run into the problem when we look for perfect. Like in a relationship, we can have all kind of imaginary things in our head, whether we trying to find a significant other. But if we try to find perfect in that, we end up living a lonely existence. Or in this case, isolation, or we isolate ourselves from trying to get there. I think that the definition is important. I think that you mentioned that definitions are important. And when we talk about in trying to find our perfect, I think that we're not looking at the definition of movement. It's not trying to find the right one who's made a mark in, 10 years ago, a couple of years ago. Not everything we like what they said, but the idea is that we're in a movement or decade. So we have to move the needle. To do nothing because they're not the perfect one means we're not moving, we're not in the movement anymore. So my concern is, in a general sense, not just in here, but that we have to be cognizant of that we want to be in the movement. So if we want to be at the top of the ladder, we have to start somewhere. We have to start at the bottom rung, the middle rung, and work our way up. So if it's Bernie Sanders, pick your name. Bernie just came to me. So whatever name that we have, it's movement forward from the thing that we had before, or Trump or something that, whatever thing that we had before, if we move it from there to something else, we've changed things. And then we have an opportunity to build a coalition to go other. So I guess just the bottom line, I went a long way to say that I want us to be cognizant of that we're in a movement. And if we're moving forward, then that should be enough right now. It doesn't make it permanent. It means that we have more movement to go, and we have to be able to work on those things and be cognizant of the ladder that we're on, and just keep moving up the ladder. Keep moving.
Did anybody actually write a paragraph on their little index card?
Did I wrote something?
Anyway,
No.
that was just an idea of mine.
No, what's the subject? She can't. What's the subject?
I gave you index cards and there's some more.
No, could you just tell us what the subject
And it's the subject of the forum that we're having today.
What is it? What?
Chelsea and Julian are working class heroes. Their fight is our fight. So anyway, I did give out index cards. But anyway, it's about 2 minutes to go.
I had a quick question. I wanted, what is they thinking that Chelsea's going to, and I don't know this, so I'm just going, what do they think Chelsea is going to testify to? What is it that they want her to testify under? I don't know what they want from her.
What they want her to say that she conspired with, they want her to say that she personally conspired with Julian Assange in getting that information. In other words, that Julian Assange was conspiring with her to get the information illegally. That's what they want her to say, and to the grand jury. And that way, they can say Julian Assange did not just get information and release it, but he conspired with her to violate her secrecy laws. So that's what they're trying to do.
Oh.
Yeah. Which didn't happen.
No, exactly. Yeah. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, and the grand jury is an institution where, they can summon you to so-called testify, and you will be alone with a prosecutor and a panel of so-called citizens. But really, and you have the right to an attorney to stay outside, not present during your questioning. Yeah. And, it is well known that a district attorney can turn the grand jury's opinion where he wants, because he's the one that knows the law. And he will ask them to indict you. That's, what is going to happen. And you cannot refuse to answer these questions unless you take the fifth amendment, against it. So it is a setup. So practically what the government wants to do is set her up. So she's refusing to implicate, Assange and other people. And
so she's staying in jail as long as they keep doing the grand jury over and over?
Yeah. They can do that. They can do that.
They did it already twice.
Exactly. And let me tell you, one of the victims of grand jury investigations have been Puerto Rican independence activists. That's a tactic that they try to use, through the grand juries in Hartford, San Juan, etc., etc.
Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So
66 years ago, the United States executed Julius and Ethel Rosenberg as traitors. Executed.
Today?
Yeah, it's in the background. And the history needs to be said.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Does anybody want to have their picture?